Hey guys, welcome back to J Recommended. Today we'll revisit one of the best crime comedy films of 2021, and an Oscar Costume Design Award winner, Cruella. It is a Disney story of an unlikely young girl Estella, who takes up a fitting name for her dark side, Cruella. Growing up she was totally different, or rather what other kids may call a freak. With her hair dual-colored black and white, her thoughts and perspective of the world around her is unfortunately just as unacceptable as she. Or maybe that is the life of every genius kid. Estella was a lot of trouble growing up, and just couldn't fit in anywhere. Going town to town, and school to school, she just couldn't find a right place. The case changed, however, the moment she somehow got to Hellman Hall with her mother. Driven by her love for fashion, for the very first time, Estella feels she belongs. But failing to adhere to instructions for once, she got herself chased by 3 Dalmatians, which led to her dear mother's death, or just so she thought. Full of guilt and self-blame, she runs to London, the only place she ever wanted to be. Homeless, lost and an orphan, Estella weeps to sleep, but in the morning happens upon 2 little thieves, Jasper and Horace, who became her family from then on. Estella knew she was meant for something more, something better than being a legendary thief. Her passion for fashion never left her for once, and thanks to Jasper's connections, she was able to get into the House of Baroness, her dream fashion brand. Estella gets the attention of Baroness von Hellman, of the House of Baroness, who finds her quite useful, and keeps her really close. She keeps being impressive, giving her best design skills and impressing the Baroness even more. But then one day she saw something, which she had never ever imagined. Her dear mother's necklace, which she gave to her on the day she died, hung around the neck of the Baroness. She makes further enquiry just to be sure, and she realizes her mother had worked for the Baroness, and indeed it was her mother's necklace, the same one her mother gave to her before she died. The Baroness describes her sweet mother as a thief who had stolen her necklace some time ago. But Estella, knowing her mother, still strongly believed the Baroness was the thief. That day, her value, love and respect for her idol, Baroness von Hellman, suddenly halved. And now Estella knew she had to do what must be done, to recover the only thing left of her mother, and she didn't mind stealing it right back. To achieve her plan, she brings on an old friend, Cruella, the part of her that gets things done as she says. Estella shows up at Baroness von Hellman's party as Cruella, with her crude white and black colored hair, and in a most unique dress that astounded every being. That day it was just a distraction to aid her friends steal back the necklace. Unfortunately they failed, and all they could do that day was escape with their lives. However, Estella totally loses it. While at the party, she watched the Baroness call on her Dalmatians, and immediately a fragment of her memory pops up, from the night her mother fell. She recalls the Baroness calling the Dalmatians on her mother that night. And indeed her mother's death was no accident as she had always thought, but a gruesome murder. Ever since that very day, every love and respect Estella ever had for the Baroness totally turned to hatred, and she becomes more eager than ever to end her wicked empire. Soon Cruella becomes a trend, a most unique brand which left the world wondering who she could possibly be. Estella, on the other hand, keeps going to work but becomes way less productive. And the Baroness so desperate to get ahead of Cruella. Sadly, the Baroness was able to find Cruella's secret hideout. She sets their home ablaze with Cruella tied up inside. To the greatest shock of everyone, the upcoming star Cruella de Vil, who has gained so much attention, fame and love in the fashion world, dies in a warehouse fire. So we all thought, but fortunately for our emotions, she was somehow rescued. Waking up on a couch in John's house, the loyal aide to the Baroness, Estella is so confused. John explains to her how he had served in her father's house, and given an order by the Baroness to get rid of her unwanted child, which was she. He further informs her how she is the heir to all the Baron her father had. Cruella becomes more determined and eager to serve justice on the Baroness. She infiltrates a mourning ceremony held in her commemoration, organized and hosted by the Baroness herself. She takes on her Estella form and stands at the edge of the mountain, from where the Dalmatians attacked her dear mother, and she calls on the Dalmatians with the whistle which she had stolen from the Baroness, and the Dalmatians pulled the Baroness to her. Whilst there, Estella speaks with her real mother, while the others called out all the guests without the knowledge of the Baroness. Just as predicted. Always expect someone evil to do something evil, as Estella had said. The Baroness, while apologizing for abandoning her, asks for a hug. And when Estella accepted, she pushes her off. She suddenly hears sounds from behind her, as everyone have been there watching, including the police. All just so shocked. Unlike the case of Catherine, there was no way of denying what she had done, as everyone saw it just clearly. Estella had, however, made preparations, expecting such from the Baroness, and Horace was down there in the river waiting to pick her. The Baroness, in the face of everyone, had just killed her assistant Estella, and the heir to the Baron. But then, before her death, Estella had just willed every of her inheritance to her dearest friend Cruella, who buries her and takes over everything, including the Hellman Hall, or Hell Hall as she prefers. And so goes the little witty story of Estella.